Okay, hello and welcome to this interview slash friendly chat with Patrick, my friend from WARHORN Records and Tartu. I'm Ola from All Studios. I'm sitting here in Drammen, Norway, and you are sitting in Estonia, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, what city exactly? Or what?
Tartu, you already named it.
Okay. Awesome, yeah. Which I've never been. It sounds amazing though. But you have your record label, WARHORN Records. It's what do you say? It's from Estonia, or it's based in Estonia in Tartu.
Yes, you could say so. Like it's basically we are like it's not only me, but like a couple of people from the scene here. And since we all are based in Estonia and actually own this beautiful town of Tartu, you could definitely say that it's Estonian, so to say.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. How long have you been doing this?
I started actually in the end of last year, so like it's like roughly 1.5 years I've been thinking about it, and then starting with the first release at 12th December in 2020.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So what about going on a year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
But what about All Stars? Like how old is this actually?
All Studios is now. Well, I officially registered it in December 2019. So soon 2 years officially, but it took at least 1 year just building it up and then getting all the paperwork in order and all of that. So it's been in progress since, I don't know, 2015 maybe. But it was officially open in officially presented in 2019. Yeah, just like 12th of December or something.
So some people might wonder how did we actually meet, and that's actually like an interesting story, because like it all started actually with Eldamar.
With Eldamar,
yeah. Yeah, because. I was talking with Matthias from who's doing Eldamar, and I knew he was in Oslo. And since I was doing an exchange semester in Bergen, I was once going abroad and then coming back and was going through Oslo. And then I thought like, oh, well, I could actually also like meet some people there. And then he told me that actually the first ever Eldamar practice, was it the first ever, or was it just the first one that ever someone else?
I think so, yeah, because Eldamar is from like 2014-15. So Matthias has been doing Eldamar for a long time, and Eldamar is kind of this. It's a very individual project. You know, it's very personal to him, and he wrote everything himself. And he, so the band that we were actually making was Askheimer, which is this brand new band. It's not.
Which is also very amazing.
Yeah, I think it's some awesome music too. Some, what do you call it? Like symphonic.
Yeah, like it goes in a bit also in atmospheric direction, but you could also call it a bit more symphonic because it's a bit more, I think, I know that Matthias likes Children of Bodom, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I think it's you can hear some influences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some Dimmu Borgir, and there's this Nordic. It's very melodic and very atmospheric as well.
Yeah.
And super excited about that. I hope we will record some stuff with Askheimer soon. But yeah, the thing was we were already doing Askheimer, and then maybe you got more details on that. But the Barter Festival, contacted Matthias about Eldamar, which was more or less, it wasn't done, but it was an old project for him. And then we got this chance to play in Germany at this festival as Eldamar, and he talked to all of us as Askheimer, and he came to us and he said, "Okay, so Eldamar got asked to play this gig in Germany, and we can all do that. And then we started practicing. So I think when you were there, that was probably the first, at least one of the first. I might be wrong, but I think it was the first practice we had, yeah.
Just for the record, it will be the first. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
And awesome. It was actually like really nice to hear, because like I really love the music, and then like to hear it live is something completely different.
Yeah.
And and then like something very weird happened, because my Airbnb was supposed to be in Oslo, but the night before, when I was actually in Vienna, I got to know that they canceled it, and
Right.
I couldn't find anything like on the spot. And I was really lost, because like if you're like in a town where you don't know anyone, like what the fuck are you gonna do? But especially in winter.
Yeah.
And then like I don't know which of you was it, maybe it was you, but like like just offered like, oh, you can stay at our place. It's
that
a bit away,
probably,
but
it was probably me.
Yeah.
Because Drammen is, you know, as you know, but it's 40 minutes away from Oslo. It's like the next town over. So it's just like a train ride, 40 minutes. And I just picked up this that you were stressing about, this Airbnb and hotel room, and a hotel room in Oslo. A drop-in could be like, I don't know, 200 euros. Tops, that's an expensive one, but it's between 100 and 200 euros for a night. Yeah. So so you were kind of stressed out, and I noticed, and I thought like, hey, we got some we got a couch and whatever at our place. So that was a fun coincidence, I would say.
Yes, and actually, like it opened up. Like I really like these situations that like sometimes happen, and like I'm trying always to get into this like mindset of, okay, like if bad things happen, something different will happen. It's an adventure, and actually it was, because in the end I got to see like how you like live. Like I think it was just the three of you at the time in this house, and I also saw the studio that you actually now in, which looked very cool.
Yeah, thank you. I'm super proud to show it off. It's it's something we've been working for a long time on. So, but yeah, I remember I gave you a little tour of the apartment, and then we came downstairs to see the studio and everything, and then you started talking about your ideas with the record label and so on. And yeah, it's fun. It's fun to show it off and to meet people from Estonia or from Germany. Where did you live?
Yeah. Well, I'm originally from Germany, but I'm living right now in Estonia. So
okay, So yeah, it's super cool to meet people, because we're all part of the same movement in a way.
Yeah.
But it's so I guess small in the places that it's very. So it's fun to meet people from everywhere with the same ideas and same love for metal, you know.
Yes, and it was actually like very nice to see that you know, like you can go to places that you can rent. Like when we went in this rehearsal room in Oslo, it was like, you pay for your box and then like you go to the rehearsal room. But this one actually looked really cool, because I didn't expect anything like this. Like we just went to this house, like it looks like a normal house, Norwegian house, and then you
like
go
poor people's house.
Exactly, yeah.
That is really bad.
Then you go into the basement, and you have like this amazing studio, which is like really top notch, I must say, and it's like, wow, that really got me.
It's priorities, you know. The outside looks like shit, but the basement is awesome. It's it's what's important, you know. I want to ask you about the room you're sitting in. Maybe you can tell us something about the building, or what you do, if you rent it, or what you do.
Yeah, sure. It's actually like I'm only like a small part of it. It actually started roughly 7, 8 years ago, that a couple of enthusiasts from Tartu, they were renting out a practice room. At some point of time, they decided, why not do it ourselves and have like kind of like a collective? So they created this collective called Pergaros, and over the years. Pergaros, it was made from the different bands that at that time were doing this. So like it was like legendary bands like Tapper, Morteferos, I think Langano, and I think those were like the ones that were like in the name. And and over the years, like more and more stuff got acquired, and now it's kind of like it's a rented space with all the material you see is like actually from I think 10 different people. And actually now it's at a level that you can say it's a semi-professional studio. And
that's awesome.
Like most of the stuff that you can hear, and also stuff that you can hear like that we release, is actually recorded in this room. So that's actually quite cool.
Now.
Yes, and actually, like you can see that it's prepared because we are currently also recording with another band, and with Ziegenhorn we expect to see full length in December. Yes.
Right. Yeah, and you're in charge, I guess, of the recording and the kind of record. Side of things, or
that's a funny thing because you see, like I just did the record label. Let's go back maybe to the history like of WARHORN Records.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, it was basically an idea. Right. Like I was in a band called Demonic Obedience, and we released an album. And it was very cool because it was the first ever album I was on. At the same time, I was feeling that
with vocals?
Like it's a bit.
You did vocals?
Yeah, I was doing vocals.
Okay.
Like I felt it was nice that it's out, and like we got like a lot of reviews and like feedback, but all you get is basically a couple of CDs, and that's it. And I don't know, like for me that was not very satisfying in a way.
No.
That like like a label they do the promotion, but somehow it's very impersonal. I don't know. And then we released actually like a demo with a Dev Commander that like we released it ourselves, and like we got a lot of attention because it was apparently like very good. Again, like I was also doing the vocals. And then I thought, well, when we're doing the album, why not trying to do it our way? Because by that time we had like 5 or 6 labels that were asking us and saying like, oh, we really want you to release your album through us.
That's a good sign though.
It's a good sign, definitely. And but like, what can they offer you? I mean, they give you like either a percentage from the sales, or like they give you a couple of CDs. But does it satisfy you?
I agree.
Like because like if you then like want to say I want to do like my way, I want to do like let's do something special, let's do this and this. You can't really, because the label will always say no you can't because exactly.
Yeah.
So and another reason was that we had so many different bands. And I thought, every time you start from zero, and you always have to like start from 0, 0, 0 again, even though some are really good, but you have to start from zero.
Yeah.
So I knew like we will release Dev Commander. Like I asked the guys, and like they were happy with it. So Dev Commander was definitely on the list.
Yeah.
Then when I was here, there was like one part like a history that. That made me like a bit that left me a bit baffled because like there's a lot of bands here, but you won't know any of them, right? So like do you know any Estonian band actually?
Oh, I know a lot of the more fresh death metal bands, no black metal bands, but I don't know where they're from. But, no, mostly the bands you told me about, or from your record label.
Yeah.
But not from Estonia, huh? No,
because
I don't think.
Because like it's almost like Finland. Like there's like like per percentage, it's a lot of bands, but not a lot of them actually make it big and get outside. And although some of them are really good, so then like the first thing we released was like a split album. Not a compilation, a split album with the 9 different bands from the city, like 9 extreme metal bands. And this was like important to me because I wanted to show, like I've been living in so many countries, but never ever was there, like I never had this feeling that, like you had like a real big group of people who are also capable of doing stuff. I mean, you're doing a studio, and like you have to acquire skills. You have to like invest a lot. You know, this is not something like special, like not something easy to do. And like when we did this album, we had like 6 people that did the mixing, 2 people who did the mastering, and like also like everything was done, like the layout, the album cover, even like the CD printing was done here. So like I wanted to show that like, yes, this scene has something to offer.
Absolutely, and that's awesome.
Yeah. So this is
no, go on.
So basically, what I want to say is like a change from this idea of doing our stuff to also supporting the Estonian scene and all the bands, and it's always important. Like it's not profitable. Like I don't get any money from it. Everything gets reinvested, and all the bands, they can decide themselves what they want to do. And and if they find a bigger label, I'm happy for them. Like let's just go for it.
Yeah.
So that's the philosophy behind it.
Yeah, that was also the history. I just briefly saw this documentary about Evolvent in or the evolution of extreme metal, and then Gojira is like one of the, I guess, more modern bands that has created brand new sound, and they also struggled getting out from France. Because France isn't huge on metal bands. They have some small, but they don't. The management side there is just terrible. So they kind of did the management from scratch and changed it. But that's also that was the motivation behind this studio here, and I guess the label that I also have. The idea was just that. That the society that we live in, especially in Norway, where we're so rich and we have so much oil, and we have a lot of money going around circulating. So rent is expensive, cars are expensive, everything's super expensive because everything here is worth a lot because of the oil and whatever. There's a lot of money going around, and so money is very central in our upbringing, in our education, whatever, and art should not be about that at all. And you have the record labels that they might be doing a great job, but they don't want me to succeed for being me. They want me to make money and be successful, which is best interest at heart, I guess. They want something good for me, but they want the money for it, and that's the record label's job. They don't write the music there. They don't go through all the stuff that is artistic and is the artist thing about music, and all the things that we think are important in music that doesn't really matter to them, because they sign 100 bands a year, and if one of 100 bands is successful, then that's good for them. Yeah. And then there's 99 other bands that are not successful and just wasted an entire year waiting for the record label to publish them or get them on the festivals or whatever.
I think you have like a very good point there, and like I see that like you can go into the music business, but once you're in the business, you have to earn money, and this is where like. I am not saying it's impossible, because I know there are like some labels and some people who definitely manage to keep like the mission of music and income somewhere. But for myself, I said that I have my full-time day job, and I just gonna finance everything, like everything that's in the label. But as soon as you start taking money, you automatically have to think about, okay, like maybe I should take this band, or like should change the sound of the band, because it would be more mainstream. And this is like a very unfortunate circle, because like do you do ideology or do you do mainstream or business? And it's a very thin line if you really have to earn your living from it. So I decided not to do it.
Maybe that's smart. Because I'm really struggling with the situation here. I'm trying to make a living of what I do, but it's it's hard, I have multiple other jobs here and there, but I wish I could just spend all my time in the studio and be in this circle, you know.
I think
mentality.
I think especially in the music scene, like or like music business, like it's very difficult. But once you get a certain recognition, I think it can be possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like for example, it was also very interesting. For example, Pagans Arf, which was our latest release, probably like at least when we were talking, and they actually came to us and were like writing us. And I heard the music and was like, "Wow, that's really good. I really like it." I suggested like an additional mastering because I thought like like it was all done themselves, and I said like, "Yeah, it's good, but a bit more." But apart from that, everything was like really like from their side, and like this is like something that comes, I think, over time. Like you just have to be like, well, keep doing it. And I think I really like what you do and also how you do it. It's like actually considering like you don't have any. Utbildning, what's it called? Hva er utbildning på engelsk? Utdannelse. I was speaking Swedish.
Yeah.
Education. So like you don't have any education in this, do you? Like I'm not sure.
Just self-educated, I guess. My brain doesn't work well with school because I'm so I don't know, naive, or I don't know what's the word, but I have to find knowledge myself. If someone tells me this is smart and this is whatever, and I don't care enough, so I can't concentrate on it most times. So I just have to figure it out myself. So I have spent hours on mixing course and classes and whatever, and just teaching myself how to mix and now how to manage a small business and how to promote music, how to record videos and whatever. So I went to this folkehøyskole, which is like people's high school, where you don't get a diploma or anything. You just get if you want. This is the only rock and metal school in entire Scandinavia, so it's pretty cool. That's also where we all met. So I went there. I didn't get no diploma or whatever, but we played concerts, we wrote songs, we met a lot of people, but no formal education, no. Not at all.
But it's impressive because, but like I have a feeling that like some people get pushed into it and they do it because I don't know, like someone told them. But I think those that actually do it because they really have an interest and like have a heart in it, they will also succeed better. So
I think so.
Hopefully for you.
Yeah, for you too. Let's hope so. I think also it makes it a bit more stressful. Because it's not like I didn't only invest my money or invest a couple of years, it feels so personal that it just can't fail, It's it's not an option to stop and to start over with something else. It's just something that's inside us, and that's why it's so fun with metal people or musical people everywhere, because as much as you want to, you can't just choose, or you can't lose the music, Like I guess you have this feeling since you were a kid as well, that the first metal song you heard, and it just from there on it's just metal music and extreme music,
Yes, definitely. It's actually funny because like I know a couple of people that started in 20s and then they dropped off, but you see, and actually I have a feeling that when you're like in your mid 20s, end of 20s actually, and also like around the 30s, this is like when you do the serious music, because like now you've tried out everything, and now you have also gained experience, you have gained knowledge, and now it's a time to actually use this knowledge, use this life experience, and put everything into making music. There's some exceptions, like I know like there's one band that was from here, like named Coffin. I mean, those guys, they were like 16 to 20 when they recorded their demo, and like old school death metal, and it sounded amazing, like one of the most promising bands. Unfortunately, they split up, but it was like amazing that these youngsters were actually able to do that. So, awesome. I wouldn't be able, like, if I look at my like first band when I was 18, no.
No, but sometimes it just works, you know.
Yeah.
Like I think about I didn't have a band until I started on this school where I met people. I was just the loner with the music, I guess. So I didn't have anyone to play with. But I remember when I was like 18, 19, and before that, there was so much that wanted out, you know. And if I had a band to do with, I guess I would probably have performed some pretty good songs, you know. Like if you think about Mayhem or Metallica or, you know, all these bands, when they were young, they created this really aggressive music. Before they got, you know, old and smarter, I guess it's really interesting to listen to the music that people make when they're young.
Yes,
kind of
and actually, a friend of mine, he's like an old, like a diehard metal fan. He's already 40, and you know, like he basically said that metal is revolution. It's like against the system, and like that's when are you against the system? I mean, you're not against the system like when you're 30. Like even like when you're running your own underground stuff, like you can't really be against the system because. No. It won't work. No. Like it just won't work. Yeah, like you can try to not pay any taxes and stuff. Yeah, good luck. Like it works 1-2 years, but then like someone will fuck you over. But yeah, like especially like as a youngster, you can revolt. You want to revolt, and you have to fire. And I think you can still do it later on, like through a different way, through. But unfortunately, actually, because this is like the time when you explore. And like later on you have explored it, so like you maybe don't have this anymore, like this youngster energy. This is maybe why some of the bands, you know, like they got better technically, but the spirit was best kept when they were young. That's just like a theory I have.
Yeah, I agree. Same as but it's just so much stuff that just grips you so much more when you're young, and you know, hungry for life or whatever. I don't know. But it's interesting.
So Ola, what was the first thing you actually did with All Studios?
The first, I don't know. There was so much paperwork and so much boring stuff that I'm not gonna get into. But the first, we started recording some Monastery songs just to try out. Monastery is my band, by the way. It's that's what I write, and no one else is writing for it. It's just my own thing. But yeah, we started. I've been writing a lot of songs prior to getting the studio up and running, and so we started recording some stuff and experimenting, and I guess we did like, I don't know, 50 recordings, and they're useless because we just had to, you know, get experience with mic techniques and the room and just stuff to learn. So we were just recording stuff here and there, and this was like December 2019 when Corona was starting to break out in China.
Actually, wasn't it the same time when we met roughly?
Yeah, that might be.
Because like I think 2019, yes, because like I was in November 2019 actually was visiting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah. It just started being like in the news. It wasn't like a big deal to us, and we didn't realize how big of a deal it was going to be, of course. But I remember it was kind of a slow year. We did some recordings and so on. And when Corona broke out in Norway and everything got shut down, then I was out of a job, and there was no concerts, no like light in the end of the tunnel. You know, there was just everything just stopped.
We did the best time to start a label, basically.
Yeah, that's what I really tried to get everyone in the scene involved in doing live streams, because I thought if there's a time to start doing something different and to get noticed, it's now. But we were a bit slow and back and forth, so when I had all this time, the first thing I did was record the monastery song Fjorden, which is it's like an atmospheric black metal song. But I chose to re-record it with just acoustics. So just an acoustic. It was a 12-string, and I had a bass drum on my. I had a bass drum on my left knee, and then foot, and then I had the hi-hat on my right.
So basically, you basically looked like someone that you meet on the streets who is trying to make money, right?
Yes,
okay, I see.
Definitely. Like, I played everything myself, sang, and then I did a second take where I sang harmonies and played a 6-string guitar, with a guitar solo, and yeah. Oh wait, yeah, and I had the snare drum also on the suit. So that was, I practiced a lot to do that, and I shot a video and everything. It's out on both Facebook and YouTube. Mm-hmm. So that was just one of the first things that I did from the studio, that I publicly released from the studio. Mm-hmm. Because I all of a sudden had all this time, and I thought, okay, I've been thinking about this for a long time, so let's do that. That was in, I guess, April. Might be, mm-hmm. Yeah, around that April time, I guess. And the second big thing we did was we had a live stream. The first live stream from the studio with some local bands, Abacus and Hoffman's Bicycle Days. None of which are in the extreme metal genre, but they're still really cool bands.
The name sounds interesting.
Yeah. It wasn't Albert Hoffman. He was in Switzerland, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a guy who discovered LSD by accident, apparently. So yeah, the band is named after that accident. But yeah, really good friends, really cool music. That was the first stream we did with 2 bands, and I quickly learned that instead of having one night with 2 bands, you can have 2 different shows, which is more of a happening, you know? Like if you have one show every second week, it's much better to have one big show one time. Mm-hmm. With the live stream, that's the difference with the live stream against like a festival. Because a festival, you go there and you spend a lot of money and time and so on. But with a live stream, you're just watching it from your living room, you know? So you try to make more content. This is all the stuff that I, learned as I was going. Oh, I got a visitor here. So yeah.
And was, what role does he have?
This guy?
Yeah.
He's the security.
Ah, yeah. I see.
He barks if intruders come, then he barks really loud.
Oh yes, I actually remember. Yes, I remember. It wanted to kill me, but luckily, it didn't.
No, he has a big heart, but his instincts just go full attack when people come in the house.
He has the instinct of a wolf, but the body of a cat. Well, I mean, you can't have everything.
No, like he's not a big guy. You're not a big guy. No, so yeah, we did the live stream with. Jesus. Yeah. There we go. Back on track. We did the first live stream. It was pretty much a success. It was absolutely successful. It was a lot of people involved, which was super stressful. But it was pretty good. It felt really good making that. I remember I was super nervous because I'd been spending all my time and money on this, and I was so afraid of. I was too worried, really. Looking back at it now, I feel kind of stupid. But I remember I was super worried about it because it was so personal. You know, this studio is like a pride and joy, and I was so afraid of it. Just I don't know what I was really afraid of, but it just looking dumb or failing or whatever. But you gotta fail a couple of times too, at least. But that night was really good. That was a good debut live stream.
Which live stream did you mean?
That was the first one with Abacus and Hoffman.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then I had a little bit more confidence after that. But our plan was actually to have Abakas, Hoffman stream, and then Monastery and Eldamar on the day after. So we would have a 2-day setup, like a festival. But we dropped that because it was just too much work, and so we did the Eldamar live stream. Oh, what date was that? It was like autumn almost. But yeah, and sadly we got the news that we couldn't play at the Barter Festival. That was a big letdown. We were really looking forward to playing in Germany. So yeah, we got the news that we couldn't go there, and then we decided, okay, let's do a live stream. Let's make the show. Anyway, so we had that probably in like September, I guess. Wasn't that? Yeah, something like that. And that was a huge success. That was a big deal. Like this live streams that we had done before that, we had like 50 viewers approximately, which is pretty good. Which is actually a lot of people. But on Eldamar we had like 1,000 viewers live. And that was that's a lot of people to watch a live stream.
Actually, I was watching it too because I mean, like, I've known Eldamar like for a long time, and I really liked that music. And it didn't come to as a surprise that, you know, like at some point of time it's gonna explode.
Yeah.
So I'd actually like I'm not a big fan of live streams myself because like sometimes it's just silly, you know, like when bands trying to play in a practice room as if they were live, but it doesn't work because like you don't have the audience, you don't have the energy.
It's not the same energy.
Yes, it's unfortunately not the same. However, with some bands, and like the Eldamar definitely is like one of the examples, it really works because like also the visuals I really liked, and that is like not a boring one camera stream, but actually like it was really thought through, and that was like very, very good, very well done.
Yeah, thank you. That's the thing about music like Eldamar, because it's so individual, it's so personal and psychological, I think. And that's also how I learned to love Eldamar. That's how I kind of discovered Eldamar. I was sitting just by myself, and this song just popped up from Spotify, just on this Discover list or whatever. And it was Spirit of the North by Eldamar. And like that, I was just caught because I was alone. I was, I guess I kind of tuned into that Eldamar frequency, you know. And that's also why it might have worked really well as a live stream, because it's not like you know, it's not like Slipknot jump the fuck up kind of thing, or it's not. It's very individual and very spiritual, maybe.
And I think actually it may have even like an advantage, because I also know from experience that some music is like it's better to not play in front of people. Like for example, like some years ago I was seeing it was WARHORN, and they were still having a gal singing there.
Right.
And I really liked the music. The show was really good. But there were some people shouting Gal all the time, and it was like so annoying because it destroys the whole atmosphere when you have people shouting with such atmospheric music. And so actually like this kind of music, like when you see that like you can actually have the time and like also like in this space, because like it's a very atmospheric space, like it's a bit, is it under the earth or is it just like on earth level, your basement?
Yes and no. It's
okay.
Like, it's on this hill. So in this corner, there's a big rock. There's like from the mountain, there's a rock in the corner of the room, and then on this side, it's more. It's a little bit of earth, but it's like downhill.
Yeah. So like this is like the feeling I got, you know, like it's like it has a feeling that you are kind of like a bit closer to nature, and also like the stone, in my opinion, like plays a big part of it. So like I think like this is like a very nice place to get into this atmosphere, and again, like because you're a fan of Eldama yourself, and if you do like a live stream and then like also arrange the visuals, then you have a different perspective than if someone like who's just paid for it, who just does it and says like, yeah, that fits.
This is my job, you know.
Yeah.
That's also on the why we have both started our own labels, because that's at least for me, because I want to keep the spirit of the song, or the core
artistic freedom. Also.
Like I want to keep it as close as the inspirational source as possible, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So with before the Eldama stream, I had a lot of that's what can be really fun with the live stream. Like if you play live, you have to have you don't have to, but it's super cool when you have like lights and lasers and smoke and whatever. On a live stream, that is much cheaper because you can just manipulate the video. You know, you can have a lot of fun with the visuals, because everyone's going to see the same visuals, you know. You have full control over the output. So I went with my camera up in the woods back here and was just filming walking around and filming logs and birds and the sun peeking through the trees and whatever, because I thought that would suit the Eldamar stream, which I think it went really well, actually.
Yes, and now you make me miss Norway a bit more, because in Estonia we don't have any hills, and it's sometimes a bit
flat.
It's absolutely flat. It's even, I think, what was it, like 5 meters lower on like sea level than Holland. So it's yes.
Than Holland, wow, that's
yes, it's very flat.
Yeah.
But actually, it was very interesting that like you mentioned this point of, you know, like taking your camera and like going out. Like one of the things, like, yes, we started to like release music physically, but actually another thing is that like I really like visuals, and also like you will see that like whenever like we do something, like it is always put a lot of effort in the visuals. So like you always have a booklet, or not always, because with the re-release of the demo we don't, but like you always have like something to look at, like something you can hold and really look at.
Yeah.
And at some point of time I started to film as well, and
cool.
Especially like if you look up the Buffin Fortress, I started to do lyric videos.
And I've seen one of them.
Yes. Which one did you actually see?
Oh, I don't remember, but it's with these visuals and I don't remember the name of the song, but I've seen one of the lyric videos you made.
Yeah, was it the one Form, Antecedent Garden?
It might be.
It doesn't matter. Like, but the idea was that, especially for this split album, I thought it would be interesting. Like, again, you don't make money off it. Like, if you're like our business, you can't do it because it doesn't make sense. Yeah. But I thought, no, it's a nice thing also for the bands, you know, to show the bands the spirit of the bands, because when I was talking with the people, like I understood that everyone had their own reason or like their own background why they were actually doing what they were doing. And so like I went to, for example, the Forum was the first one. I went to the main guy who was behind it and I asked him, like, so what were you thinking like when you were like doing it? And then there was actually like around half a kilometer from his home, there's an old like ruins of a house, and it has like a very nice garden, and you can see that like it's very sad because it probably used to be like a very beautiful garden. And the lyrics are actually about this garden, so to say. This is why Antecedent Garden. And so I went there with him, and like we filmed, and like I asked him like, yeah, what places do you like, and then like I tried to capture it. And then later on, like this is like a bit like my artistic stupidity, like I took like a couple of facts and to make it like a bit more. I mean, it's experimental music, so like this is why it looks a bit weird. Then with Ulgrand, it was another interesting thing. Like, again, I asked this guy who was behind the project, or like the main guy, I mean, like it's always a band, but like the guy who was writing the lyrics. And he told me, like, it's about a fire. And I told him, like, okay, like if you have to do a lyric video, like what would you choose? And then he had this idea of this bonfire. And so basically this fire that you can see is actually like just like it's on his actually like this area belongs to him as well. So like this is where they like fire up or like burn the old branches that like in springtime you cut and collect. So it's basically like from his home, and it was like very nice, you know, to drive there. We had to drive like 2 hours to get there, and then like in the evening back. Yeah, and like with Schoolfolk, it was another thing. Like they're just crazy, you know. Like but it's amazing because you know like every one of them is unique and has, and it's just like the important thing, they have an idea behind it.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, that's, as you said, with a big label, they just get the job done, you know?
Yes.
That's it's so much more fun to like get the source out there, or get some personal stuff. Like I love filming all of my stuff myself and creating this. I really wanted to make videos when I was younger as well. I still do, but you know, music first, and then
film star next.
Yeah. That's my next move, to be a movie producer in Hollywood. No.
Why not? I mean, like, wasn't Norway owning 1% of 1% of Apple, 1% of Disney? Yeah, Disney. So there you go.
They do.
Yeah, like as far as I know, they invest like a lot of money for pension funds. So yeah, anyways,
probably yeah. That sounds correct. But yeah, no, I just usually when I hear music, I create these visuals in my head, and I think a lot of people do that themselves, but there's also a lot of people that don't. Especially, I think more and more now when you have all the time, you have Netflix and Facebook and whatever. There's always things happening in front of you that are amazing, or the scenes are created really good, and the CGI or whatever is really creative, but the creative stuff doesn't happen in your own head, you know? You're not creating the visuals yourself. So I think I that's what I've been thinking about the live streams and music videos and stuff, that it's much easier to get the attention of a lot of people if you have awesome visuals, if you have something that would because everything is so it stood out, and everything is so visual now, you know. Because I'm the kind of guy that could just put on a record and just be quiet, you know, and listen to the record. But there's a lot of people that they're too active, or they're too restless, or they're just used to having something to look at, you know. So you can try to catch them with the visuals as well.
Actually, it's interesting because I once saw, you know, like whenever you see like there's some useless videos, and there was like this flying over my feed or whatever, and it talked about the Four Seasons, like the song, the classical song, and exactly. So like, and like it was, as I said, like it was a bit simple, but yeah, they said like, oh yeah, Vivaldi didn't only write Four Seasons, but he tried to simulate the Four Seasons with different sounds, so to say, like what the instruments do.
Okay.
And they try to make it like really pseudo intellectual, like, oh yeah, like now you can hear like words and whatever. And I do actually have the opinion that musicians do a bit of the same. So you don't always, you know, like understand it, because sometimes it's they don't understand it themselves. Like when like with some of my projects, when I do music, it takes like sometimes like half a year until I understand what feeling I actually wanted to express with it. Yeah. And I think a lot of people have the same. So I think that visuals and music, they fit perfectly together. But again, like it depends on the music. Yeah. I mean, like, how often have you seen, like, this is especially a problem I have with mainstream music. I mean, yes, they may sound better, like, quality-wise, but if you take it, like, to the core, like this, where's the feeling, you know, like, where's, you know, like, the energy? It's basically like, we played, like, 50 times until it's right.
And what do you get from it, you know?
Exactly, what do you get from it?
What happens in your head and in your soul when you hear this auto-tuned, the same beat with the same 4 chords over and over again. The only argument for pop music or mainstream music is that it's catchy.
Yes.
And being catchy is not necessarily a good thing. With the corona or with AIDS, it's not a good thing. So why would it be a good thing in music? It's so easy to get connected to it, but it's
And actually, one of the interesting things, because I've been to a lot of different concerts and festivals, and still one of the best experiences I had was in a small bar actually here in Tartu, run by a Latvian, and they invited a Latvian singer or guitar player, and basically he was just he was a traveler. He was maybe roughly 30, and he came there, and I didn't know who he was or what he was doing, and we were 20 people at tops in this small bar, and then he started talking, and then he said, he's been traveling to this place, and he always had his guitar with him, and he was basically retelling his story with his music. And
right.
It was very interesting because for pretty much every song he had he had a story to tell.
Awesome.
And so he told the story, and then he played it, and you feel I see where it's coming from. I see where it's coming from. And unfortunately, because this is the problem that you, especially as a musician, I think we need a producer like you do with the studio. I think it's easier to survive, but if you're a musician, you really depend on being mainstream, because otherwise it's very difficult to survive. So if you exactly. Yeah. So if you are not if you're not mainstream, and this was his problem, that he said he made this album or whatever you call it, which is amazing, which is kind of his travel stories, but then he also made other albums that were more mainstream, because he needs to earn money as well. And if you listen to them, you're it sounds nice, but it doesn't catch me the same way.
Yeah.
And
exactly. Yeah. But then all the mainstream fans, they're super happy with whatever.
They might be.
Bands keep doing that. Have you heard Kaizers Orkestra?
You mean the Finnish one?
No, it's from Norway actually. It's not a metal band or something. It's it's balancing on the mainstream, because it's it's a very, a lot of people in Norway love that band, but they can be super they used to be super experimental and weird and just ska, jazz, weird stuff and weird vocals and whatever. But they have a lot of songs where the only intention was just to write a pop song, write a hit song.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, those songs are the biggest ones. But they say themselves that this is business, this is our job, and the crazy songs, the weird songs, they won't ever sell the same way as the mainstream songs will, unfortunately. So it's this balance,
Yeah, and actually now, I was talking about form antecedent card before, and now I think it would be a good way to just cut in for a couple of seconds so people understand what the music is, because then I will explain a bit more about this band, because for me this is a very interesting experimental band.
Yeah.
after we've seen like a bit of form, what it is, it's very experimental as well, and atmospheric experimental as well. And you know, like these guys, they actually released the album just recently, and unfortunately not in my label because like I was only like starting with the label. And I saw them live some 1-2 years ago, and I thought like, oh, actually they're really good. And when I listened to the album, I was like, yeah, like 1 or 2 good songs, and the rest is a bit, like, because it's obviously experimental, right? Yeah. And then they did something which was impressive. They made like an album, how do you call it? Album, like when you play the album the first time.
Like a debut fest or a release.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like a release party, like where you usually play your album, like album release, whatever. But because of Corona, obviously this wasn't possible. So what they did is, like in Estonia, the restrictions were actually not so bad. Like with WARHORN, we had our first concert actually in October 2020, in the middle of a pandemic, which was quite funny. And but yeah, coming back, so they rented like a place, a big hall, which is also quite high, and then they worked together with 2 or 3 artists. Yeah. And the guy who is behind Form, like let's say call him just the main guy, he studied art and is at the military. So like kind of like it doesn't really match if you think about it, but maybe it matches even more when you think about it. And these songs took 10 years to record and to mix and master, you could say. Yeah. So like over 10 years, they were kind of growing and, like going around. And when I went there, I just wanted to, like try to make a small interview with him, like show maybe some pictures and something, because again, like mission of WARHORN is like to expose a bit more like Estonian music, underground music. Yep. And what they did was they called it an audio-visual exhibition. So something we talked about before. Yeah. And for every song, they had a different art exhibition. And it was really an eye-opener because you really, you went in there, and I went through this circle because like they had the music starting over again. So like basically first song, first piece, next song, next piece, next song, next piece. And it was always something different. Yeah. And it was really an experience. And you could feel and you could finally understand, it's not like you have like a lot of bands who sing about, Satan or Satan's cat or, whatever springs to the mind. Yeah. But actually the lyrics, they had a reason, they had a thought. And now when I listen to music, I listen with a completely different imagination of what is happening. Right. And awesome. So like the plan is, because like then I, instead of like just going there for half an hour or like an hour and going back, I stayed actually like both days almost from beginning to the end. And at some point of times I tried to film, and hopefully we will find time, because again we're doing it voluntarily, but hopefully we will find time to actually put everything together and so to say release it as you could say it's like a live video, but basically like the whole concept, so people will actually see what it is.
Right. Because I think you sent me just a video. I don't know if it was more the interview and more the...
Yes.
Yeah. I think exactly. I remember that because that's such a cool idea. It's an awesome idea to actually... And the fact that they actually did it and went through with it and got the location and everything.
Yes.
So cool.
And it was like really impressive because like in the band there's like 6 people, and for example they have a singer, like a female singer as well, and she actually like studied like singing or studying singing, and then you have like the drummer who actually studied jazz drumming, and you know, all of these people, just to name like them, but you know, like all of these members, they are very unique people, you could say.
Yeah.
And so like throwing into this mix, this is like exactly what, you know, experimental makes. And like some say, okay, they are, because they have a certain influence, which is Frons, like this old Norwegian band, like I may have mispronounced it, but for Frons, so, but again, like they're trying to do like something new and different, and like most people just say, oh yeah, it sounds a bit like this, so yeah, it's okay. But this is like the thing with underground music. I think it deserves a second and sometimes a third listen to fully appreciate what it is.
Every time there's something new, you know that it can be hard to grasp the first time you hear it because it's so much.
Yes.
And then you give it a second or third or even 10th listen, you know. That's you probably experienced that yourself, that you can listen to a song you've heard so many times and then just completely out of the blue that this one sentence makes sense, or the entire song just, you know, okay, that's what it is. That's where it is. You know?
And I think this is like a bit of a problem of nowadays times. I mean, I remember like when I was younger, you didn't have YouTube. So like you had to go to the, like back in time, like in Germany, it was like MediaMarkt and like CD shops. You had to, like, sometimes you were just like looking for a cover. Sometimes you were like, there were like these things where you could actually put it in or like even scan and like listen to it and like, whoa, now I get an idea. And every CD you had was something you treasured. Something you listened to a couple of times, and sometimes, like I remember, like with my first CDs, I always learned the lyrics, so like I would know all the lyrics.
Right.
And nowadays, I mean, you know, like, you know, I don't care anymore. But you know, like for the first album, like I was really thinking about like what to write, because you know, you can't always like write like 8 songs about Satan, which is stupid. Because like I'm not a Satanist, so why the fuck should I do it? Yeah. But if you see, like all the time, I really spent a lot of time like fabricating like a whole story, trying to connect it and making like actually like a lyrical concept album, like from first to the last song. But no one cares. Like you have like 1 or 2 reviewers like who read the lyrics and they're like, oh, actually that's interesting, and the rest is like, yeah, it's lyrics. But it's
lyrics are really overlooked in a lot of metal. But not only by the fans, but also by the writers. You know, it's just Satan whatever or something. You know, and they don't really care. For the music that I write, I put a lot of time into the lyrics, especially the songs that are released. There's a couple now that are not released, and I'm still. That's the only thing holding it back. It's just the lyrics, because I don't feel like it's portrayed correctly. But also when I scream, I'm very, very, I'm very particular, or what's the word? I try to pronounce it so that you can actually hear.
Actually, you know, like there was like a crazy thing, because like for me, like it's boring if you do always the same and have like a different band. So like with every band, I'm trying to do different vocals. Okay, like cool. Demonic Obedience, we actually like the new album, and also will be the last, is like kind of already ready. It just needs to be mixing, mastering, and a bit of bass recording. But this is like the band where like I kind of like scream so much that like it's not good for my vocals. I know this, but it sounds cool. With Death Commander, you know, like I was recording together with our guitar player, and he was a fucking pain in the ass, you know. But he was right as well. I mean, he has his points, which was basically about, you know, Death Commander is about like First World War, and basically what he says is like, yeah, like if you sing, you should understand the lyrics. Understand, like if you know the lyrics, yeah, I will understand them. But because I'm German, and you may have heard like my pronunciation might be a bit, you know, corrupted, and like we have this beautiful German pronunciation. Like probably even when I speak Norwegian, I actually don't know. But the thing is,
a little bit, but it's that's the charm of Europe, you know.
Yeah. Actually, like this is why I chose, you know, to speak in a Bergen dialect, because you know it's very close to German.
It's easier with the R, especially.
Yes. And but anyway, so like, and he was like really getting on my nerves, because in the beginning I was growling something. I was like, oh, that sounds good. He was like, no, it's not good. Like, what the fuck? Why? It's like, no, do it again. It's like, no, listen to it. Like, it sounds good. And it's like, no, it doesn't sound good. And then at some point of time, we understood that he was looking for the pronunciation.
Yeah.
And, like now I can tell you like how fucking difficult it is to pronounce something and growl something at the same time.
Yeah.
It took me, like I counted it, and I went, I think, more than 20 times. Like some of my friends in Estonia said you were crazy because I went so fucking often to I have been living in Scotland, so I used to effort quite a lot when I get a bit enraged. It really took a lot of time to practice it and growl on the way. But it is actually better if you really try to do something and try to do it right instead of just do whatever.
Yeah. But there's this dilemma where, as for Eldamar, there's literally no lyrics. There's a lot of vocals, but there's no words. And the whole point with the vocals is the energy, the energy or the feeling. There's no words. So there's that aspect of the vocal, just the energy or just whatever you're getting out there that's non-verbal, and then you have the verbal part of the lyrics, so it's kind of up to what you think is most important to get the energy, the growling, like really heavy growling, or the weird sounds or pig squeals or whatever, or if it's important to get the lyrics out.
Yes, and I agree with you. And whenever someone asks me, what do you like of Eldamar, I always say the lyrics, they're best. Yeah. But actually, jokes aside, it's funny that you say this because, with Tignon, I have exactly the same approach. Because, everything starts with the music. So sometimes you write music, but you don't understand what it means. It's sometimes with some things I'm very sure what I want to say, but if some things it comes from a feeling, and it's sometimes difficult to understand. And then the vocals, especially for the demo, we didn't really have lyrics.
Okay.
It was exactly because of the same reason as you said, because it should not be about the words. It should be about the energy, and basically the lyrics that's what's translated from this energy that's taken. Yeah. And this is why it takes always a lot of time to write actually lyrics, because you know what you want to say, but how to say it.
Yeah, it's just not verbal all the
time, exactly. But I think this is where and this is why so many people really like Eldamar, for example, because it is not about creating a fake universe a lot of Tolkien based bands you can write or try to fake Tolkien and do it in the words, but it gives more power and it has more to it if you don't focus on actually what is written, but actually what is coming from you inside. And I didn't notice very good information. Matthias is anyways a really amazing person in this regards. I have huge respect for him. I mean, he's also
me too.
Young actually.
Yeah.
If he's how old was he when he wrote the first Eldamar? 16, 17, 18, something like this.
Yeah. He's same age as me, and it was released in 2015. So he was 17, 18 when it was released, and he probably spent a year writing it. So a year or two, maybe more.
And I think he must have had some interesting life experience, because you cannot write such music without life experience.
And that's the thing with Eldamar now. I'm gonna try to not speak on his behalf, but or maybe I can, because I've tried to do this interview with him and he's not interested really. He wants to write music and tell a story that way instead, which I understand. But
totally.
He there will be more Eldamar, but it won't be that kind of Eldamar. It's not going to be the same, because that, especially the Spirit of the North album, the what's it called, Ancient Land or something, then it's that, and it's the Forgotten Past album that have very much the same sound, and that sound sort of belongs in a state of mind, you know, in a part of his life that is now 6 years ago. So the new stuff it's completely different, because it's just that's kind of the weird thing with fans, because fans probably expect the exact same record once again, you know?
like Mugwa.
Yeah, maybe. I've heard it. I haven't heard like the different albums, but they have they're that's black metal, you know.
Yeah,
like some dark black metal. But yeah, he's really I don't know, evolving as everyone does. But it's the Eldamar stuff is from one place and one state of mind, and when he has talked about it, he said like when he wrote the stuff, he was just trapped in this place in his head, and therefore it can be really weird listening to it now for him, because it's such a personal space, you know.
Yeah.
That's also why I think it's so good.
Yeah.
Because it's so honest, and he did it by himself when he was in this state of mind, and
you know, like actually, like you know, like usually, like I don't like, especially in public, to talk about like some of the music. Like for example, with Tigonon, it's a totally different area. Obviously, like it's also like a total different area of feeling that like comes from it. But it's basically not only basically, it is exactly the same idea, because it. Like when you listen to the songs, you will see that no song. Well, for the demo, they were kind of similar-ish, but like for new songs, like no song is like the other, because a song takes like roughly 2-3 months to evolve, and then also you have like different times, like different seasons, different feelings, different things that happen. And already now, like I have ideas for like the new album, which will be completely, not completely different, but it will be different. Because like this is the state of mind that is captured now, and once it's captured, and it will always be a part. But it's like it's a very personal part, and this is why, like with this band, for example, I'm not very interested in like talking about it too much, because it's again like very personal for me. Like for me, you know, like it's like one is like an aggressive part, like how I express emotions. But you know, like it's basically like what I actually tried really to find somewhere, because like I have friends like somewhere else, like in Germany, like in Sweden, like wherever I was living, you know, and when they were making music, it was they were making music because they were music enthusiasts. So they kind of like, some try to sound like, you know, a bit like Metallica and Creator, and others try to sound like this and that. But, you know, sometimes I was lacking this, that, you know, the people do it because like it's a feeling inside of them that needs to get out.
I agree. And there's so many bands that are, we're a black metal band, or we're this,
it's like,
we're this kind
on
of
the paper, yes, but
And then but the really good bands, it's the ones that, you know, they have something to tell. In my opinion, they have to you have to have something to tell, and it can be dark and terrifying or whatever. But it's when you make it into music, it's always beautiful.
Yes,
that's what I love about metal music. You can take like the worst you have ever experienced, or the worst thoughts that you have, the most negative things you've ever experienced, and you can turn it into something that a lot of people will celebrate, you know. They will share that pain, you know, with make it the best.
I mean, like I must say, like, well, at least for me, 90%, or maybe 90 is a bit harsh, because like a lot of underground bands are luckily like this, but like 80% of bands, let's say, they don't have this. They do music because they like, usually they want to be like on the stage. They just like, you know, the sound of it, which is fair enough, you know, but like usually they want to sound like, and this is like where it's getting boring again. Or they just dicks and have like a too huge ego. And the way how you can actually see it is like when you are on a concert and close your eyes, and if you still feel the music, then you know you've done something, like they have done something right.
Oh.
And also what I really liked about like this Estonian scene, for example, because in here you have a lot of people, like they all know it's, for all of them, like here in Tartu, it's a hobby, like at least from our scene, because we don't make money. Like usually it's like you kind of like you're paying always, because you know like all the fucking stuff, and like if like with WARHORN, like if we sell all CDs, we kind of like get to zero. But then again, like you know, like you give to those like who were involved, and then, but again, like it comes enough money in, so like you can invest in the next. But that's the thing, like the people have the spirit. For example, this drum kit that you see over there, it's been used with at least 10 different bands. Because you know, like there's not that many like good drum kits that you can use on concerts, and so like the drummer who basically owns it, he is very generous, and like then says, yes, of course you can get it, but bring it back as well, of course. Of course. But you know, this is like what I feel is a scene, like people helping each other, supporting each other, and the only
together, you know.
Exactly. And the only trouble actually, like at least my opinion, emerges when money comes in. Because now you have to like think about, okay, like I have to pay for like, let's say like the drum, and now like I have to pay, and then it's getting like, you know, the spirit will disappear. So like this is why I decide for myself at least that I don't want to make any money from music, because once you start doing this, it will be very, very difficult to.
You can pollute the vision. You can
exactly.
Very distracting. And I'm barely starting to realize how much of a threat it is, or how much of a pain in the ass the money part of it is, because I'm pretty good financially, I would say. So I don't make a lot of money, but I've spent it good. That's why I have this studio. That's why I'm able to do all this, because I don't waste money on stupid stuff, really. I just use it well, and I also I have a very good idea of how to make money. Like whenever there's a crisis, I always find some way, like to paint someone's house or drive somewhere and pick something up. Just small jobs, you know. And that's, I thought I tried to bring that into the music, into like with the live streams, and by taking pictures and trying to make videos and this and that, just to be able to make it work, to make it go around financially. But it's such a big deal, and especially now rent is going up and everything is so expensive now. So that the cost, it's just the financial side of it is really polluting my vision or my spirit to do this, because it's mixed like motivational factors, I guess. What do you call it? That's like I just mix the things that I want to achieve, you know. Is it to be able to make the money, or is it to record and release an album and make it fun and make it exactly how I want it to be, you know? So it's kind of hard to balance those things, especially now when no one pays for music, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a general problem, I would say. This, I mean, like people, like especially when a band forms, usually they just think like, oh, yeah, it's cool, we play live. And then they say, like, let's go to the studio. And in my opinion, this is like the reason, like at least for me, like a band isn't a band unless it has recorded something. Because the trouble you have been through this whole process, it's not only like recording. You have to like find your sound, you have to find like your style, you have to find like, I mean, like sometimes the label takes all this stuff, but for example, like the vision, what do you want, you know, like the CD or like a booklet, like what do you want to show, how do you want to transport and everything. And then usually you have this problem with, okay, you have one person who is like very loud and wants the things his way, and maybe like another person who says no, I don't want it this way, and then like you have a lot of arguments, and in some bands this like leads to a breakup because it is really difficult.
Kind of sounds like the guitar player and the vocalist.
Yeah.
Typical.
As a vocalist, I can agree.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, like it's also that like I'm a vocalist because I love singing. Although I never was good at singing, so I started growling, so that worked. But yeah, like the trouble is, especially as a vocalist, that everyone sees you, and when you go on stage, everyone sees you, and I think it's totally wrong. Because those guys are the ones writing the music. Like I'm just like, yes, you have like it is also a different like I was once in a band, and like the girl who was like a guitar player, she said like, oh yeah, like vocals are just a cherry on top. And I was like, nah, it is like depends on like what band you want, but good vocals can make a huge difference.
It could be the make or break thing.
Exactly.
A great vocalist. And most of the music that we listen to are focused around the vocalist and around this artist that is. But I think it's like guitar players usually listen to the guitars because they know what is going on, and the drummers listen to the drums because they're intrigued by what is going on there. But the vocals, every human being who has a voice can relate to speaking words with the passion of singing, you know?
And now, actually, I want to put attention to like another interesting release that is coming up next on the 9th of September. Just as information, like we always, when we release something through WARHORN Records, it will be always on the how they call this, like in the 7th, 8th, 8th, 9th, 9th, 10th, 10th. Okay. So like it will never be more than one release a month, because I think if you release something, it deserves like the attention. And if you have
month,
it deserves the attention, because like if you have too many releases, like you spend like half of the time on energy on this and half of the time and energy on like the other one. But now you have like 1 month where you can actually put a full attention on this, and then comes the next. Anyways, so
that's
like a 9th
also something that is positive when you don't make money from it, because then you have this motivating factor: spend the time versus save the money or earn, you know. But keep going.
And then anyway, so basically what is coming out is like a project of a friend of mine. He was also, he's also like in Ulgrand and like some other bands. And he just went to this practice room / studio, and he tried out some things. Like he's just like, okay, how is it to record this? Can I like mix a bit? And he was basically trying to learn things. And what he created, it was basically an ambient experimental, not even metal, like just let's call it ambient experimental. And he told me about it, and I was like, oh, let me listen to it. And he was like showing it to me, and I was like, whoa, that's actually really, really nice. You know, like I saw that also like he put like the spirit into it, you know, like although it's an experimental, like he was still like doing like very thoughtful things. So yeah, but this was a new release that's going to come, and then we have another release already planned for probably October, which is an EP by the band called WARHORN. And it's like very interesting because the EP will not be like the album that is already out. It's very interesting. It's like one 25-minute song, which is like very how do you call this? Yeah, you still have parts that like sound like Sworn, but like in total, it's like very ominous, you could say. So like it's very, very interesting what's happening there. But enough about my plans. Like, so what are your plans with All Studios?
Well, we there's a bit back and forth, unfortunately, right now. But we have shot one music video that we are now editing. It's for Monastery with my project. There's this song Full of Hope, which is the first song I wrote for that band. So we have recorded that music video partly in here in the studio, which turned out really good actually, and partly on this old farm that I used to live next to as a kid. It's this old beaten up house with the roof falling in and everything. So I think that would be really cool. I hope that will be out in September. Yeah, should probably be done then. And then I have a lot of songs that I'm still recording, but I'm kind of juggling, so I don't have really good dates. I should get better at putting dates on stuff. But it's because we're juggling all these other projects, and all of a sudden these people can come and record, and so that's it's recording a lot of songs, releasing a music video, mostly Monastery stuff, and then we have 2 new bands. There's also this friend of mine moved in not so long ago. He has a band called Cold Harbor, which is a very black metal band, like a Norwegian, not typical, but that's pretty cool. He just wrote his second album, or his first album. He has released one EP, and then he's just written one entire album now during the summer. So we're going to start recording that too. That's going to be really cool. There's also like a song that is, 15 minutes or something. It's going to be really cool. A lot of acoustic parts, and a lot of blast beats and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. It's pretty open. Yeah. We just started playing shows again in Norway. So we've done a couple. We did the Askhammer debut show 2 months ago, maybe almost 2 months ago.
And you told me something about a podcast, if I don't.
Oh yeah. I have so many ideas that it's hard. Yeah, no, but that I just have to. I think I will do that. Yeah, a podcast about pretty much like we did today. I hope it will be as natural as this conversation has been. We've been talking about lyrics and the meaning behind it, and art and music, and just the business side of it. And there's so much to explore in this the thing that we do. You in Estonia and me in Norway, but it's so much of the same, and there's so much that is interesting to talk about, and I think would be interesting to a lot of other music lovers and metal lovers and musicians and whatever.
I mean, basically here you also don't need like the video necessarily. Like personally, I don't like being in front of camera because like I have the opinion it shouldn't be about me. It should be like about what we do, and like also like I'm only a part of it. And the podcast is very nice because you can actually focus on what they say and not what they look like or like how they behave.
I agree.
And I mean, like maybe we should like probably we should like have this as a video, but maybe also like as a podcast version. Because like I think I never listened a lot to podcasts, but actually like one of my mates in Germany, he started to do a black metal podcast, and I really started enjoying listening to it because like he's also a very good host, and like as we had I didn't expect it, but then like it's turned out to be like a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
and the good thing is like you can always stop at whatever time you want and continue. And if you don't like it, you can just skip a part. So this is like a very interesting idea, basically.
Yeah, it's a very interesting market. It's just podcast is just blown up.
Yes, it's like I feel a bit, again, like I think that like some people might hate me for this, but like the time of those web scene science is over. Basically, it's like I saw it like with my label. Like I was sending out, for example, like the bandmates from Graph Commander, they wanted to like have a lot of reviews or like see reviews because they are all old school. They are like a couple of them like 5 to 10 years older than me, and. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna send out. I sent like to 300 or 400 places. Like, yes, of course, like it gives you some exposure. Yeah. But the reviews, like, who's reading them? I mean, this is like, I'm sorry to say this, but like, there might be like still 50 to 100 people. But whenever I saw a review about a band, whatever, you rarely see that there's also an interest in the band, like it comes to like when it comes to clicks, when it comes to purchase or whatever.
Are you getting customers that are actually buying and keep coming back to the band?
Yeah, exactly. And like I mean, like there might be like some might be exceptions. And like for example, like we just like had the guys from Undergrounded, which is like a German. Like let's call it like they do a lot of reviews and stuff like this, and like those guys are really cool, and I think they also have like still a couple of followers because they do it more interestingly. But if you look at like just a vast amount of online reviews that you have these days, it's like the funny thing is like we got more reviews from most of the bands by looking at these illegal download forums. Because there you can actually see people like with a lot of reviews, you have the problem that they only give you like 8 is like the worst, or like 7. Oh, that's already harsh. But like in those forums, there's like just normal metal fans who write their opinion. They say like, this sucks. It's like, oh, that's really great. And then you can actually like you understand what people really think. Like except for, and I had this problem with a lot of reviewers that like they take it, they have like maybe to listen to it once. They look at it and like I'm sorry to say this, but in one case, like the guy, he was holding like the booklet into the camera even, and was telling like, oh yeah, like I have no idea what like this album name is. It's like, every song is translated in English in the fucking booklet, and the last song was the song of the album cover. So basically, you could have known if you
tried.
Really. If you try it, but like it was, but he also told me it's like he has like 15 minutes with each album. Like sometimes they don't even listen like the full album. Like sometimes they just skip. Like okay, now we're gonna write it or like do a review. But again, like long story short, podcasts are like I think like also something that will happen more in the future because it gets more information and people don't like reading anymore. They like listening. So let's see.
Yeah, it can be an interesting, because that's the thing. I can sell out on so many levels, but I'm not selling out my music. So if I can ride the podcast trend or whatever, I can, and also it can be fun to make podcasts.
Yeah, of course.
But the idea was to make kind of like this, like a video, but also put it out as a podcast on podcast streaming services. So that you kind of tick both boxes, But to like bring a little life into the metal community, I guess, because it's definitely it's alive. It's alive everywhere, but it's so spread out. You have these 1 or 2 guys in this small town, and then one guy in this other town, and so I'm just completely, I just always run through all these ideas that I can create with my studio, just all the stuff around the music and because that's fun to be a part of, I think.
Exactly, and I think this is like part of like what differs from like the mainstream, because in mainstream you basically have to think about numbers. You can't just say like, what's making fun? Like, what do you like to do? Like, what's my passion? Like well, you have to decide. And actually another thing that like we've started doing it now because of Corona, we had to drop it a bit. But like I had the idea of doing concerts in smaller places.
Yeah,
because
awesome.
Oh, you do.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Like like sometimes like I've been looking for people like who have like the right mindset like for ages, but it's but anyways, and the idea basically is that like especially in Estonia you have not a lot of concerts with high quality. Like okay, so this is like maybe a wrong phrase, but there's not a lot of foreign bands that come to Estonia.
Right.
And if they come, they only go to Tallinn. And yeah, so basically what they do is like they go to Tallinn, they play there, but in Tartu, for example, nothing is happening. So like now we have a couple of concerts happening here, but if you go to the next city, which is an hour from here, nothing has happened in 3 years. And so like actually like I was putting on like one of the shows in Pilva, which is like a very tiny place, and I was really happy that like people actually came, and like 30 people. I was more than happy because that's this perfect number for a small concert, because like you have like this atmosphere. Like if you have like a huge concert, like you don't have the same atmosphere. And actually, to take it like a step further, next year we are planning, and we will most likely do it as well, because like now we actually plans are getting serious. In the end of July, doing our own small underground festival here in Estonia.
Awesome.
And I hope to see you there as well, because like you're definitely invited.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds cool.
And the idea is like we just like do our thing, and like with not a lot of people, and because like the location, like if we can agree on the location, but I'm very sure we can, it's always like close to a lake, and it will be like kind of like just a place where you can relax. You can actually learn about also like I hate backstage, because like I hate like this separation between bands and the audience. So there will be no designated backstage. So like hopefully like it will happen that the bands and the audience will come together. They will have a good time, and like everyone will enjoy it as a vacation, basically. Yeah. And also, let's hope like maybe 1 or 2 bands from outside Estonia say like, oh, actually that really sounds cool, and we want to support it. And yes, let's see about the lineup. And if Corona, like you never know, but in July it shouldn't be a huge issue anymore, I hope.
Yes. I've been thinking about this so much, and yesterday I came home from vacation in close to Jotunheimen, where Galdhøpiggen and the top of Norway, the biggest tallest mountain in Norway, is there, and the nature there is insane. And I was just walking around on this farm that is definitely more than 200 years old, this family farm. And I just kept thinking about all these scenarios that you can create when you have this space, this farm, this outside space. I grew up in the forest, and I just miss that and the music that you can create there. And I've been thinking about this so much to make like a festival with the different scenarios, that you can walk through this tight, like if you put like trees in the lights, no lights in the trees, or down by this small river, you can create this atmosphere, and you can walk along, and you can come to this place where this song is played acoustically or metal or whatever, or just vocals, or that you can create all of this like this little trip, just being super creative with the idea of a festival. And I really want to make a festival outside sometime when it's possible again. I like outside in the woods, and where it's more about like the personal experience with
and
music,
actually, because like I've been like to festivals, I think in 10 or 11 different countries, and like I've been to a lot of festivals, and I must say that these things you describe, like here in the Baltics, it is a lot but more like what you described actually. Like Kilkum Jaibo is like the biggest Baltic metal festival, and they have like it's like very interesting what they have, and they have also like follow this kind of like they have like kind of even like an own program like with Vikings and everything, and I think like you can definitely do this. The only question is like to what degree, because I'm not expecting to make any money from the festival. It's just rather like you lose some money, but I have a job, so like next year like I won't have like a lot of money. But again, like you have this experience, and maybe it will be just like a one-off. But if you can say something, you did something, and actually like you created something unique, you like even supported the scene. And my dream is always, or like part of my idea is always, whenever we do something somewhere like which is like very unusual, that the youngsters come and the youngsters say like, oh, that's really cool. I also want to play there, or I also want to like, whatever. Like when I was young, like it was the same. Like I went to concerts, like, oh, I also want to stand on the stage and like, or like, oh, I want to do this kind of music. And so hopefully the actions that not only I, but like that we do, it will inspire like a new generation.
You're planting a seed,
to continue.
You're
exactly
spreading this the love for music, or these experiences, or whatever you call them, and that's what it's about. Really.
Yes. So and that's
No, go on.
Oh no, just like what I said, like that's a very nice finishing phrase, but like you just cut off your your sentence.
Yeah. No, I just been thinking about it's when you create this this inspiration, when you give people the idea of inspiration, you can't really. It can be hard to count it the same way that you count money.
Yeah.
Because, if you count, I made 100,000, then that's a success, But then maybe 15 years, there's a big band and they say, we went to this festival and we met there and we all got inspired to do this project, That's a success, but you won't know it unless someone tells it to you, So it's really different. But I think that's what's important, and that's what you should keep in mind when you do this.
Yes, and actually it was funny because like I just remember that one of the guys who was who's like a bit of the younger guys here in like in the scene, he actually got inspired by one of the bands, which is Tapper. So like actually like a couple of years, like let's say 6-7 years ago, he was inspired by this band, and now he's doing music himself. So like this is like perfect. This is like how it should be, and but it also needs people that continue doing it, so it will not die out, and like there will always be like something more creative. Because when I was living in Germany, like it was almost dead, like the whole scene. So like and like bars were closing down and everything. So like I really want to avoid that. Let's hope for it. In any case, Ola, it was very great talking to you. I didn't expect the talk to go this way, because like we just like thought about like talk about like old studio and a bit about WARHORN, like we went into like actually very interesting directions. It was very enjoyable, and I think you're like a great host when it comes to that. So like continue doing like the podcast, or like start podcast, and then hopefully see you as soon as time and as restrictions will allow it.
I'm coming to that festival in Estonia.
That's the spirit.
I'm bringing my friends. Maybe we can play some songs too.
I am very convinced that I have a free slot.
Awesome. That sounds
perfect.
Good. No, thank you so much. I agreed. It was a very interesting chat. Very fun, and it went so off topic.
Yes.
But it's awesome. It's so much to explore in this industry. So much to talk about.
Yes.
So very interesting. Very interesting to hear about your record and your plans. I'm looking forward to see what it's going to become.
Maybe in the future, like we can do something together. Like which was my plan anyway. That like at some point of time, like a friend will release together. Why not?
Yeah. Awesome. That would be really cool. To unite the northern metal scene.
At the north.
Yeah. Absolutely. No. Thank you so much. It's been awesome.
Yes. Thank you.